We get the orders from Moscow as well. Secret phone calls from pro-Russian rebels revealed in the investigation of the downing of MH17 that killed 298 people.
Here's a summary of the article.
Investigators probing the downing of Flight MH17 in 2014 are in possession of recorded phone calls that draw a connection between pro-Russian rebels implicated in the missile strike and a senior aide for Russian President Vladimir Putin. The International Joint Investigation Team, based from the Netherlands, publicly released the calls between the members of the armed Russian separatist group Donetsk People's Republic, which has fought against the Ukrainian government for independence in eastern Ukraine. I'm carrying out orders and protecting the interests of one and only state, the Russian Federation. That's the bottom line. The indications for close ties between leaders of the DPR and Russian government officials raise questions about their possible involvement in the deployment of which brought down Flight MH17, the JIT said in its findings, adding that the missile system that downed the aircraft originated from a unit of the Russian armed forces from Kursk in the Russian Federation. According to the phone calls, senior members of the DPR maintained contact with Russian government officials about Russian military support, including Vladislav Surkov, a senior aide to President Putin. Other intercepted phone calls also implicate the GRU, Russia's military intelligence agency, and the FSB, Russia's secret intelligence agency. Although former DPR rebels testified in the investigation that they received military help from Russia, both the rebels and Russia have denied they were involved in the missile strike.
This post received a score of 31,009, with an upvote ratio of 94%. Here are the top comments in response to this article.
Can't believe that was 5 years ago. So much shit involving Russia, hard to keep up. Hopefully in the near future we can actually get justice for the victims and their families.
Most illuminating was Reddit's particularity this sub's behavior during this. So many different RT articles upvoted, with people trying to muddy the waters by saying it was a Ukrainian false flag. People trying to paint the entire army as neo-Nazis, trying to argue that NATO was the one being aggressive because Ukrainians decided to remove the former pro-Russia government, arguing that this was a NATO false flag, trying to tie everything to Obama.
That's cyber warfare, it's disgusting.
It literally happens every day on Reddit. And it's never as obvious as you might think. A lot of times you can spot it when a discussion about a somewhat hot topic is staying relatively respectful, then a comment is posted by a relatively new account saying something like, sure example hashtag A is awesome and we all agree, but example hashtag B is this because of insert something intentionally offensive but disguised as conversation. This cyber warfare is less about pushing a particular view, and more about creating division amongst everyone, and a lot of times it's so subtle you don't even notice it. When
divide and conquer.
The plane was brought down with Russian military hardware. I don't understand how people can try and explain that part away.
Greater than how people can try and explain that part away. Some people are paid to do exactly that.
Worse are the ones that aren't. I wonder what the actual paid shills think of those idiots.
Hey Alexi, get a load of this Jaga from Kansas. Looks like we can break and play StarCraft.
I'm trying to read this in a Russian accent but each time it's just a different British accent.
Keep trying. One of those will be a Russian guy attempting a British accent.
And another will be a British politician working with the Russians.
This shit still hurt me. My friend and his family was on board. Every time I read news about this, my heart felt the same way I felt when I got the news early in morning.
Sorry for your loss equals. Even if it didn't affect me personally, it was a terrible morning indeed.
Russia is known for deliberately leaking information to influence stories. The Dutch investigation showed it was Russian soldiers, not Ukrainian rebels, who shot down the plane.
Even if it was rebels, they were funded and supplied by Moscow, so there is hardly a difference.
I also doubt some random militia guy would know how to operate an AA missile. Probably actual Russian soldiers handling that.
This video was automatically created by Reddit to speech. The article and comments in this video were selected from Reddit according to their upvotes, and any paraphrasing was performed by smmry.com, without any human intervention.